Let me tell you about the Okafor family. Victor Okafor, his wife Naoma, and their 3 children Chidi, who was 12, Ada, who was 9, and little Amika, who had just turned 6. For 15 years, Victor had worked as an accountant in the city, saving every kobo, dreaming of the day he could build his family a proper house. Not just any house. A mansion. And finally, after all those years of sacrifice, eating gari for lunch to save money, taking buses instead of taxis, wearing the same 3 suits to work, finally, Victor's dream came true. The compound was magnificent. 3 bedrooms, a large sitting room with Italian tiles that shined like glass, a modern kitchen with cabinets that reached the ceiling, and a backyard big enough for the children to play football. The neighborhood was exclusive, the kind of place where people drove expensive cars and spoke English even to their house helps. Victor's chest swelled with pride the day they moved in. He stood at the gate, watching the moving truck unload their furniture, and he felt like a king. "We made it," he whispered to Naoma, squeezing her hand. "Our children will grow up in a proper house. Not like how we suffered." Naoma smiled, but there was something in her eyes, a small worry. The compound was beautiful, yes, but it felt strange. Too quiet. Too perfect. Like a picture in a magazine instead of a real home. "Victor," she said softly, "did you ask the neighbors about this place? Why was it empty for so long?" Victor waved his hand dismissively. "The agent said the previous owner relocated abroad. That's all. Stop looking for problems where there are none. This is our blessing." But it was little Amika who noticed it first. It happened on the very first day during the move. Amika was playing outside, running around the compound, excited about all the space. The sun was bright, hanging high in the afternoon sky. The kind of sun that makes everything cast a long, dark shadow. Amika was chasing a butterfly when he stopped suddenly. He looked down at the ground beneath his feet. Nothing. He moved to the left. Still nothing. He jumped up and down, waved his arms, spun in a circle. But no matter what he did, there was no shadow on the ground. "Mama! Mama!" he called, running inside. "My shadow is missing." Naoma was in the kitchen, unpacking plates. She smiled. "Amika, stop being silly. Shadows don't go missing." "But Mama, look." Ameka pulled her outside into the bright sunlight. He stood there, arms spread wide. And Naoma's smile disappeared. Her son stood in the middle of the compound, bathed in sunlight. But beneath him nothing. The ground was empty. Like he wasn't really there. "Victor!" Naoma's voice was sharp, frightened. "Victor, come here now!" Victor came rushing out, thinking someone was hurt. "What is it? What's wrong?" "Look at Ameka." Victor looked. He blinked. He looked again. That's not possible." Chidi and Ada came outside too, curious about the commotion. They stood next to their little brother, and like Ameka, they cast no shadows. The family stood there, frozen, staring at the empty ground beneath them. Victor's mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe it was the angle of the sun. Maybe it was the type of tiles in the compound. Maybe. "Victor, we need to leave this place." Naoma's voice was trembling. "Right now." "Leave? We just moved in." "Do you know how much I paid for this house?" "I don't care about the money. Something is wrong here. Can't you feel it?" Victor could feel it. A coldness in his chest despite the hot sun. A wrongness that made his skin crawl. But his pride was stronger than his fear. "We are not leaving," he said firmly. "It's just a shadow. It's probably nothing. We'll get used to it." "Get used to it?" Naoma stared at her husband like he had gone mad. "Our children have no shadows. Inside the house, we'll have shadows. It's just outside, in the compound." "It's fine." But it wasn't fine. That first night, nobody slept well. Naoma, my wife, kept checking on the children, making sure they were breathing, making sure they were real in this new, perfect house. I lay awake, just staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. I was trying to convince myself that I had made the right decision, that this move was the fresh start our family needed. It felt off, but I couldn't put my finger on why. When morning finally came, our youngest, Chidi, was the first to make another strange discovery. He had gotten up early, eager to use the new bathroom. It was beautiful, all white tiles and shiny chrome, with a large brand new mirror mounted above the sink. Chidi squeezed some toothpaste onto his brush and looked up at his reflection. It looked back just as it should. But then he noticed something was wrong. Chidi tilted his head to the right. His reflection in the mirror tilted to its own left. He raised his right hand, a small wave. The reflection raised its right hand to the same hand, not the mirror opposite. Chidi blinked. The reflection in the mirror blinked a second later. A tiny, almost imperceptible delay. Papa, come quick. I stumbled into the bathroom, still groggy from my restless sleep. What is it now, Chidi? I asked, my voice thick with sleep. The mirror. Look at the mirror. I stood beside my son, and we both looked at our reflections. At first, everything seemed normal. A father and son, side by side. But then I saw it too. The slight delay in its movements, the wrong way it mimicked our gestures. And the most unsettling part, the way our reflections seemed to be watching us, really watching us, instead of just copying our movements. It was like looking at two other people who just happened to look exactly like us. It's just an old mirror, I said, but my voice lacked any real conviction. Maybe it's warped or something, but we both knew. We both knew mirrors don't work like that. By the afternoon, our daughter Ada had discovered something else. She was hungry and went to the kitchen to find a snack. She opened the refrigerator door, and the light inside came on, bright and white, illuminating the shelves stocked with food. But as she reached for an apple, she noticed something impossible. The light from the refrigerator wasn't casting any shadows. Not on the floor, not on the walls, and not on her hand reaching inside. It was as if her hand was passing through the light, not blocking it. Mama, Ada whispered, her voice trembling. What kind of house is this? Naoma had no answer. She had spent the entire morning trying to cook in that beautiful, modern kitchen, but everything felt wrong to her. The food smelled right, the spices were fragrant, the onions sizzled in the pan, but when we sat down to eat, it all tasted bland. Like eating cardboard. The water from the tap was clear and cold, but it felt strange in her mouth, unsatisfying. The air in the house was cool, perfectly air-conditioned, but it made her feel cold on the inside, a deep chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. This perfect house was starting to feel like a perfect prison. That evening, I decided I needed to get out. The feeling of being watched, the wrongness of it all, was getting to me. I told Naoma I was going to buy bread from the small shop down the street. I walked to the high compound gate, slid the bolt, opened it, and stepped outside. The moment my foot touched the dusty ground beyond our compound wall, I gasped. The sensation was immediate and overwhelming. It felt like stepping into warm water after being trapped in ice. A wave of relief washed over me. My shadow appeared suddenly beneath me, dark and solid on the ground. I looked down at myself and felt whole again, real again. The hollowness that had settled in my chest was gone. I looked back at the compound, at my family standing in the doorway, watching me, waiting for me, and my heart dropped. They looked faded, like old photographs left in the sun for too long. Their edges seemed to blur into the air around them. They looked like ghosts. Papa, hurry back! Our little Emeka called out, but his voice sounded thin and far away, even though he was only a few meters from me. A knot of fear tightened in my stomach. I bought the bread in a rush, my hands fumbling with the money. I hurried back to the gate, my heart pounding against my ribs. The moment I crossed the threshold back into our compound, it happened again. My shadow vanished. That cold, hollow feeling returned to my chest, a familiar, unwelcome guest. I handed the bread to Naoma and said nothing. What could I possibly say? Our new house is stealing our shadows, and it makes you look like ghosts when I'm outside. She'd think I was losing my mind, but I knew what I saw. I knew what I felt. The next morning, I had a new plan. I decided to talk to the neighbors. Surely, if something was fundamentally wrong with this property, they would know. They would have noticed something. I walked to the house on our right, a large, white building with a beautiful, well-maintained garden. A middle-aged man was out front, watering his flowers. Good morning, neighbor, I called out, forcing a cheerful tone. We just moved in next door. I'm Victor Okafor. The man looked up and smiled, a warm, welcoming smile. Ah, welcome, welcome. It's a pleasure. I'm Mr. Okonkwo. We chatted for a few minutes about the weather, about the neighborhood, about how good the schools were in the area. Mr. Okonkwo was perfectly friendly. But when I invited him to come over just for a minute to see the new house, the man's smile faltered. It was subtle, but it was there. Ah, he said, suddenly looking at his watch. Maybe another time. I'm actually quite busy today. What about tomorrow? I pressed gently. Well, you know how it is, he said, turning back to his flowers. Always something to do. His message was clear. Undeterred, I tried the house on the left. A young couple lived there with twin girls who were chasing each other around the yard. I got the same story. They were perfectly friendly at the gate. We talked about their kids, my kids. But the moment I invited them inside, they suddenly became very busy. An appointment they forgot. A phone call they were expecting. I tried 3 more houses on our street. The response was the same every single time. A polite welcome, a brief chat, and then a hurried excuse when I asked them to cross the threshold into our compound. Nobody would come inside. That night, after the children were in bed, I stood by the living room window, looking out at the street. I watched as neighbors visited each other, their gates opening and closing. I saw children playing in other compounds, their laughter carrying on the evening air. People walked freely from house to house, sharing food, sharing stories. Life was happening all around us. But nobody came to our gate. Nobody even looked at our house for too long. Their eyes would just slide past it as if it wasn't there. It was as if our perfect new home was invisible. Or worse, as if everyone knew something we didn't, a terrible secret that we were now living in the middle of. And as I stood there, feeling the cold, shadowless air on my skin, I realized we weren't just in a new house. We were in a trap, and we had walked into it willingly. 2 weeks passed. The Okafor family tried to adjust to their new home. They told themselves it was just strange, not dangerous. They told themselves they would get used to it. But then Chidi noticed something else. Mama, I'm not hungry anymore. Naoma was setting the table for dinner. She looked at her son, confused. What do you mean? You haven't eaten since breakfast. I know, but I don't feel hungry. I don't feel anything. Ada piped up. Me too. I mean, I know I should eat, but I don't want to. Even little Emeka, who usually ate like a goat, pushed his plate away. My stomach doesn't hurt, Mama. It's just empty, but not in a bad way. Naoma felt her own stomach. When was the last time she had felt truly hungry? When was the last time she had felt thirsty? Victor still forced himself to eat 3 meals a day, but he noticed it too. The food sat in his stomach like stones. He wasn't digesting it, he wasn't processing it. It just existed inside him until it didn't. Sleep became strange too. They would lie in bed for hours, eyes closed, but never truly sleeping. Never dreaming. Just existing in a gray space between waking and resting. And when morning came, they weren't refreshed. They weren't tired either. They just were. Victor, Naoma said one night, lying beside her husband in the dark. We're not living anymore. We're just here. Victor didn't answer because he knew she was right. It was Naoma who finally sought help. She left the compound and oh, the relief she felt when her shadow appeared beneath her feet. When hunger suddenly gripped her stomach, when she felt actually real again, and she went to see Mama Adaze. Mama Adaze was the oldest woman in the neighborhood, maybe 80 years old, maybe older. She sold vegetables at the market, but everyone knew she was more than just a trader. She knew things. She saw things. When Naoma approached her stall, Mama Adaze looked up and her eyes widened. Ah, the old woman said softly. You live in that compound now. You know it? Everyone knows it, my daughter. We just don't speak of it. Naoma felt tears burning her eyes. Please, Mama, tell me what's happening to my family. Mama Adaze sighed deeply. She gestured for Naoma to sit on the wooden bench beside her stall. That land, she began, her voice low. It's old. Older than this neighborhood. older than this market, older than the roads. Before any of these houses were built, that place was a sacred grove. A place where shadows were offered. Shadows? Yes. In the old days, before you were born, before even I was born, our ancestors believed that every person has two parts: the body and the shadow. The body walks in the world of the living. The shadow walks in the world of spirits. They must stay connected. You understand? 1 foot here, 1 foot there. Naoma nodded, though she didn't fully understand. Mama Ades continued. During times of great trouble, famine, war, plague, the elders would come to that grove. They would perform a ceremony. They would offer shadows to the spirits, asking for protection, for mercy. The shadow would cross over and the person would survive, but changed. Empty. Less than whole. But that was long ago, wasn't it? That doesn't happen anymore. The grove is still there, my daughter. It's just hidden under concrete and tiles now. The spirits don't care about modern houses. They still wait. They still hunger. And when someone enters that space, the old agreement awakens. Naoma's hands were shaking. What agreement? That anyone who dwells there must offer their shadow. Must live between worlds. Neither fully alive nor fully dead. How do we break it? How do we get our shadows back? Mama Ades was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was sad. There are only two ways. You leave the compound and never return. Walk away from that house, that land, everything. Start again somewhere else. And the second way? You stay until the 40 days are complete? 40 days? What happens after 40 days? The old woman looked at Naoma with eyes full of pity. After 40 days in that place, your shadow is no longer just visiting the spirit world. It belongs there. Completely. And when your shadow belongs to the spirit world, so do you. You become permanent residents. You can never leave. You'll walk that compound forever, neither living nor dead, just there, waiting, like all the others before you. Naoma ran home, truly ran, feeling her heart pound, feeling sweat on her skin, feeling alive in a way she hadn't felt in weeks. She burst through the gate, back into that cold, empty feeling, and found Victor in the sitting room. We have to leave, now, today. She told him everything. About Mama Ades, about the sacred grove, about the 40 days. Victor listened, his face growing paler with each word. How many days has it been? He asked quietly. They counted. The moving day, the first week, the second week. The days blurred together in that timeless house. 28 days. They had 12 days left. We leave tomorrow, Victor said, standing up. I'll pack tonight. We'll take only what we can carry. Forget the furniture, forget everything. We'll go to my brother's house in the village until we figure out. Papa. It was Chidi, calling from his bedroom. His voice was strange, distant. They rushed to his room. Chidi was standing by the window, looking out at the compound. His skin looked translucent, like they could almost see through him. Papa. I tried to go outside to the gate, just to see. But I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? I mean, I walked to the gate and my hand went through it like it wasn't real. Or like I wasn't real. Victor grabbed his son's shoulder. His hand passed through slightly before finding solid flesh. Like pushing through thick water. We're fading, Naoma whispered. We've been here too long already. That night, they tried to pack. But the suitcases felt wrong in their hands. The clothes they folded seemed to lose color as they touched them. Everything in that house had been there too long, absorbed too much of that wrongness. We'll leave it all, Victor decided. We'll go with just the clothes on our backs. Morning came, though morning was hard to define in a place where time felt broken. The family gathered at the gate. Victor held Emeka's hand. Naoma held Ada's. Chidi stood between his parents. On 3, Victor said. We run. We don't look back. We run to the main road and we don't stop. 1. They could see the world outside the gate, real, solid, alive. 2. Naoma squeezed her daughter's hand. Please God, she prayed. Please let us escape. 3. They ran. Victor reached the gate first. He pushed it open. felt that warm sensation of crossing the boundary, saw his shadow spring to life beneath his feet. And then he was yanked backward. Invisible hands grabbed him, pulled him back into the compound. He screamed, reaching out for something, anything to hold on to. Naoma tried to follow her husband out, but she couldn't. Her feet wouldn't cross the threshold. It was like trying to walk through a wall. The children were crying, pulling at their parents, but they were stuck too. Trapped. "Let me go!" Victor shouted at nothing, at everything. "Let us go!" But the compound didn't answer. It just held them. Gently but firmly. Like a mother refusing to let her children leave home. They stopped trying after that. What was the point? 32 days had passed. 8 days left. The family sat in their beautiful sitting room, the one with the imported Italian tiles, and they said nothing. What was there to say, really? It was little Ada who finally broke the suffocating silence. "Mama," she asked, her voice small, "are we going to die?" Naoma wanted to lie. She wanted to pull her daughter into a warm embrace and promise her everything would be okay. But the words just wouldn't come. They were stuck in her throat, a heavy lump of fear. "No," Victor said finally, his voice firm, trying to project a confidence he didn't feel. "We're not going to die." Ada's eyes, wide and searching, turned to him. "Then what's going to happen to us?" Victor looked at his family, his strong wife Naoma, his thoughtful son Chidi, his bright daughter Ada, and his youngest Emeka. A wave of despair washed over him. So deep it felt like a physical ache, even here. In this place where feelings were starting to fade away like old photographs left in the sun. "We're going to stay here," he said, the words tasting like ash. "Forever, but we'll be together, right?" It was little Emeka, his voice trembling but hopeful. "If we stay forever, at least we'll be together." Victor pulled his youngest son close, burying his face in his hair. "Yes," he whispered. "We'll be together." It was a small comfort. A tiny flickering light in an overwhelming darkness. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. They started to notice shapes in the corners of their eyes, fleeting and dark. They'd hear whispers in rooms they thought were empty, soft murmurs that seemed to ride on the air currents. At night, footsteps would echo in the hallway, slow and deliberate. It became chillingly clear they weren't alone in this compound. Others had come before them. Others who had made the same fatal mistake, who had stayed too long, who had unknowingly crossed that invisible line from visitor to permanent resident. On the 38th day, they saw them clearly for the first time. A family of 4, standing silently in the backyard near the manicured lawn. A man, a woman, and 2 teenage boys. They looked hollow, transparent. They were there, but not there like a heat shimmer on a long road. The man's eyes met Victor's. He didn't speak, but the message was as clear as a scream in the night. Asterisk welcome asterisk, his eyes said. Asterisk you're one of us now, dot asterisk on the 40th morning Victor woke up and he just knew. You're one of us new. He placed a hand over his chest but couldn't feel his heartbeat anymore. When he looked down at his own hands, he could see the pattern of the floorboards right through them. He looked at Naoma, and she was the same. So were the children. They were more ghost than human now, more spirit than flesh. I'm sorry, Victor said, his voice a ragged whisper. I should have listened to you. I should have left when you said we should. Naoma reached out to touch his face, or she tried to. Her hand passed through his cheek like a wisp of mist. We're together, she said, her voice soft but steady. That's what matters. They walked through the compound, their new, eternal home. It was beautiful, they had to admit. The Italian tiles still shined with a cool, indifferent gleam. The walls were still a pristine, brilliant white. Everything was perfect. Perfectly silent, perfectly empty, and perfectly eternal. Little Emeka discovered a new trick. He could walk through walls now. He giggled as he passed straight through the kitchen door without even opening it. Chidi and Ada soon joined him, turning it into a game, chasing each other through the solid structures of their prison. They were pretending to be ghosts, which, Victor supposed with a hollow pang, is exactly what they were. As the sun set on that 40th day, not that it mattered, Since they no longer cast shadows, the Okafor family gathered together again in their sitting room. They watched through the large picture window as a new family pulled up to the gate. A young couple, full of life, with a baby bundled in a carrier. The husband had that same look in his eye that Victor once had. Pride, ambition, that all-consuming hunger for a better life. The real estate agent was already in full swing, showing them around, pointing out the Italian tiles, the modern kitchen, the spacious bedrooms. "Why is it so cheap?" the young husband asked, a hint of suspicion in his voice. "The previous owner relocated suddenly," the agent said smoothly, the lie rolling off his tongue. "They're very motivated to sell." Victor stood at the window, a silent, unseen observer. Naoma came to stand beside him. "Should we warn them?" she whispered. "How?" Victor replied, his voice filled with resignation. "They can't see us. They can't hear us. We could try," she insisted. And so they tried. They flickered the lights, making them dance and strobe. They nudged small objects, trying to send them tumbling from shelves. They whispered warnings into the air, their spectral voices lost in the breeze. But the new family just laughed it off. "This house has character," the young wife exclaimed, delighted. Victor and Naoma watched as the couple signed the papers, paid the deposit, and scheduled their moving day. Another family, another dream, another trap being set. "Another month," Victor said quietly. "And they'll be just like us." The compound would have new residents. And the old residents, Victor, Naoma, their children, and all the others who came before would remain, watching, waiting, trapped together in their beautiful home, forever. Naoma took Victor's hand, or the memory of his hand, and they stood together, looking out from the house they had sacrificed everything for. The house with the Italian tiles and the modern cabinets. The house with no shadows. The house that never lets anyone leave. So, here's a word of advice. If you ever find a house that seems too good to be true, too beautiful, too cheap, too perfect, do one simple thing. Go and stand in the yard at noon, when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. And then, look down at your feet. If you don't see your own shadow, run. Run as fast as you can, and don't you ever look back. Because some houses don't just want your money. They want you. Forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe out there.